The Wild Wild West.
All right, we're live. Gabe Polsky, man, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. I wanted to bring you here. I saw your documentary a while back. I got a little screener copy. Honestly, I said I'm not just fluffing you. I thought it was one of the best things I'd watched in a really long time. So, the man who saves the world. That's it.
Yeah.
Question mark. Not the man who saves the world. No question mark. That's about a guy who didn't drop the nuclear bomb or something.
Yeah. That's another film.
Yeah. Yours is The Man Who Saves the World? Question mark. Which, dude, I swear to God, Brandon, our mutual friend from Rough House, sent it to me, and I was like, all right, and I'm pretty like precious with my time. So if someone's like, hey, do you want to watch this 2-hour thing? I'm usually like, yeah, I'll watch it. But I read the tagline. I'm like, dang, that sounds kind of cool. Dude, one night, I saw through it. So congrats on that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's 85 minutes because I know that, you know, the 2 hours scares people, but
dude, now I feel like now documentaries are 6 hours.
Yeah, it's
the murder mystery doc.
Everything's long.
I know, but the murder mystery doc, I'm telling you, man, I don't want to start by it on a negative note, but like, dude, I would really like to move back from the 6-hour twisty murder doc. It's like, I don't need to watch this for 6 hours. Just give me an hour and 20. Hit me with a twist at the end.
I agree. I'm the same way.
It's like a full work day.
Yeah.
I'm signing up to watch this lady get murdered. It's like, dude, hit me with the facts.
I know.
Give me the facts.
They're stretching, you know.
Yeah, true. But no, I thought your documentary was honestly fantastic. And just to like, I don't know, I don't want to give the whole thing away, but just to recap, I try to explain it to people, and I always sound crazy. It's about a guy who, by the guy alone, could have been what's his name?
Patrick McCollum.
Obviously, it could have just done one on that guy alone. His life is crazy. He was a peacemaker, you know. He just does everything. But he got convinced somehow that he was the center of some ancient indigenous prophecy that he was going to, was it save the world or bring everyone back together and thus save the world by saving the Amazon?
That's right. I mean, the second part, yeah. So basically, these indigenous elders from the Amazon came to this guy at like a peace gathering in India, and they said to him, you know, we think you're this guy in our prophecy that we've had for, you know, hundreds of years. So different tribes of the Amazon, they all kind of got together and identified this guy and said, you know, we think you're this guy. And, you know, initially he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just kind of a regular guy. I don't think I'm the guy. And they basically for 8 years kept coming to him and saying, you know, when are you going to come and fulfill this prophecy of ours? You're going to come and unite the tribes of the Amazon and essentially save the Amazon and restore the earth. And after many years, he's just like, all right, like, I guess I'll like do what I can and go down there. And
first of all, that's crazy he was able to fight that off. I would immediately be like, yes. I getting hit with the chosen one is my personal fantasy, so that's crazy he got to live that out. And it's nuts that he was like, no, I'm not. Which obviously you're the chosen one. If you're gonna be like, no, I'm not the chosen one, it's like you're definitely the chosen one.
Yeah.
So he was
right.
But dude, but then so I'm like, okay, that's first of all, that's like kind of a wild concept. Then you get into that guy's life, and it's like that guy was I've never even like heard of or seen a guy like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's
most talented guy I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what drew me in. Honestly, the prophecy part of it was just, to me, just so bonkers that I'm just like, this guy's a bullshit artist. This is crazy, you know. And I was, you know, incredibly skeptical of it. And then ultimately, first of all, I started doing a lot of research. I hired a private investigator, you know, to look into this guy. You know, he was saying he's best friends with Jane Goodall, and I didn't really believe him there.
I forgot about that. He was buddy with Jane.
Yeah, and then I, you know, reached out to her personally and got an interview, and she said this guy's the most fascinating guy she's ever met, and you know, and so obviously that vouched for him. But really, what kind of drew me in was how weird and amazing this guy's life was. He was like the most fascinating guy I've ever met. He's, you know, he was a carny. He was a jewelry designer to, I guess, you know, Ronald Reagan, John Wayne, and Russell Crowe. He was, you know,
did you say carny at first?
A carny. So he basically at 12 years old, he like joined the carnival for like 4 years because his brother got cut in half.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
And
okay.
his parents
Yeah, dude,
needed-
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to laugh at his brother getting cut in half, but yeah, his brother got fucking cut in half.
Yeah, and so his parents had to go basically take care of his brother, so he was left kind of on his own
Yes.
at 12 years old, and so what he decided to do was join the carnival, and there he kind of met all these freaks and married a prostitute, which isn't in the film, but and then.
He's like a mythical guy. I swear to God,
I
he's
mean,
got
it's
a
mythical.
myth.
It's like Forrest Gump. It's like Zelig. It's like the guy has literally done everything. You know? And so, yeah, I just felt like him alone as a character study. I don't know if you sort of like character study of movies or documentaries. You know, just him alone, I knew would be kind of fascinating. And then on top of that, you've got this whole prophecy. You've got, you know, indigenous, you know, going into this sort of indigenous world that, you know, most people have no idea about, you know, and learning about, you know, their wisdom and connection and all that. And then having this guy kind of fulfill this prophecy. It's just like the strangest story.
And you kind of followed him around more so kind of like fact check the guy, which I could pick up on towards the end of the doc was pissing the guy off when you were fact checking him and he was just like, well, you don't believe me, dude? You don't believe me? I'm the chosen one to save the world. So yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but it was, dude, the documentary is fantastic. So how does that work? You like when you want to do a documentary, I guess you just got a hot tip somehow and then you got to go like, you just follow the guy around. Like, what was it like? I mean, I guess you weren't with him all day, every day. When I see a documentary, for some reason, I imagine you're just like living, eating, and sleeping in the same quarters with the guy. I was gonna say sleep with the guy. You're sleeping in the same quarters with the guy, but it's like you're just kind of popping in, recording, popping out, you know, going back and forth. What is that like after a certain time? Do you guys become like super close, or is it just kind of like all biz?
Yeah, well, everyone is different. I mean, this one I actually really did sleep at his house twice, which was pretty wild. I mean, his house, he's got two places, one in Moraga, California, and one in New Mexico, and they're both kind of really wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in this instance, you know, it was kind of on and off, and you know, you just, you know, I was kind of documenting him and following him, but it was really kind of on and off, you know. So I would shoot with him for a few days, and then like, you know, maybe a couple months would pass. I would sort of shape the story a little bit more, then know what, you know, something else is coming up. Then I would go and shoot that, you know, until I kind of, you know, was trying to wrap it all up and say, where is this going? When is this going to end? You know.
How long?
That was actually the most.
And you filmed for how long, you said?
Yeah, about 3 years, you know, on and off.
Dang. So yeah, that's got to be nerve wracking, especially if you're filming. And you're like, all right, come on, go meet these guys, go do the stuff. Yeah. How did you handle kind of like trying to keep them on a timeline with that?
Well, I would constantly ask, like, where is this happening? What's happening next? Is the prophecy, you know, going to be fulfilled? Like, you know, because in our culture, you know, we're constantly, you know, we want results, you know, we want, and plus, like, I don't want to be shooting this for like 10 years. Like, I've got other things to do and whatever. So, yeah, I would be, you know, putting a little bit of pressure on him about where is this going? And that was kind of the most nerve-wracking part of this particular documentary that I made, was just that it was so unknown where this was going. And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you get involved in something, you have just no idea where it's going, and you think you're crazy. Why am I doing this? I couldn't even...
Like a marriage or something? Like a marriage?
Like you were saying, it's so hard to pitch. Yeah, exactly.
You have a little idea. No, a project like that would drive me insane.
Yeah.
To not know.
I was literally on the verge of insanity. Like,
yeah, especially because I don't know if you've staked it yourself or you have financial backers, you're doing this, and it sounds awesome, and you're like, fuck, dude, come on.
Well, this one I was kind of on my own because, as you said earlier, you know, pitching this story to like Netflix and HBO and places like that. I mean, it's just so far out and so weird. They're not making this kind of stuff. No. You know,
I haven't seen anything. Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that before.
And so even going to investors, you know, they're just look at me like, what the hell are you talking about? This is too weird. You're crazy. And so I was kind of on my own at a certain point when I decided to commit to this, you know, I realized that I was kind of going to be on my own here. So that put a lot of even more pressure on the financial. Also, like one of my biggest fears is like wasting my time, you know? I mean, if you spend 3 years of life, like what have you been doing? You know, you talk to your friends and family, like, well, what are you making now?
Tough one to explain.
I'm just like, yeah, this guy, he's in the middle of a prophecy. And they think they're like, dude, you're out of your mind. And you got to go see somebody, you know? And so it's been hard to kind of, but I did see a vision, you know, about this film. No matter how crazy it was, I knew that somehow I could weave all these really interesting things together into something really meaningful and funny and really bizarre. It's like a trip.
Yeah.
This whole thing's like just going into like a psychedelic kind of weird trip, but that also, I think, you know, gives you a lot to think about afterwards.
Yeah, and especially, and again, it kind of does too. And I'm actually reading a book right now, speaking of the Amazon, about the first conquistadors who like sailed or like went down, I guess in a canoe or whatever, navigated the entire Amazon River. And the author went down there because he always likes to visit like the historical sites or whatever he's writing about. And he said the Amazon in particular is like, he's like, it's literally like a magical world. And he's like, you know, there's obviously a lot of it's been like destroyed. But he was basically saying that if we do lose like the rainforest, we're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it like retains moisture. And if you knock down the trees and plant different trees, they don't retain the same amount of moisture, then it gets hotter and blah, 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 blah. But so hopefully it's true. Hopefully he does the thing. Cause it's like, I don't know, again, no spoilers, but I was like, you watch it and you go, maybe he did.
Yeah.
Maybe he did the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, that was the whole thing. I mean, I would go to these gatherings, you know, where he was essentially uniting tribes of the Amazon, you know, and you know, there would be these sort of smallish gatherings, you know, there'd be tribes from various parts of the Amazon and you know, well, let's just say about 100 people, you know, and, you know, I'd be looking at this and they'd be doing, you know, indigenous ceremonial things with feathers, with fire and all kinds of things and connecting with spirits and so on. But from an outsider perspective, you're just looking at this thinking, you know, what the hell am I looking at? You know, this is so weird. This is about saving the world. Is he uniting the tribes here? But then I started thinking to myself, how does any business deal or even Jesus Christ, for instance, when he was doing his sermons and starting out and talking to people, it probably didn't look like anything. It's just him talking to people and doing about some weird stuff. And, you know, no one would have said, this is the guy. He's going to,
that's
this
true.
is happening. Everything happens, even on big things that end up having these ripple effects that huge. They start off really small and they probably don't look like anything that's special.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that was,
when you guys started your podcast, you know, it's just you guys in a room and then it becomes
far from glamorous.
So I'm like, yeah, exactly.
That was the meetups in the hotels where it's just like a 20-person meetup in a hotel convention center. That was kind of that was cracking me up. You're just like, bro, wait, this is the big meeting. I will say what I liked about him too is that like he would do those meetings and there, you know, it doesn't look great. There's just a couple people strewn and he would get out and be like, that was awesome.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
like,
exactly.
That was what we needed to do.
That's exactly. He's like this insane optimist. And every time I would talk to him, it would just be like, literally, he just did the biggest thing ever. And I'd be like, were we at the same place? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, no.
I don't know have you met people like that are just like so positive and so, you know, almost in slightly delusional way, but it becomes kind of contagious and weirdly self-fulfilling.
Yeah, it is. I on my good days, I can kind of do that myself a little bit, but then, you know, I slip all the time. I'll just go anywhere to do a show and be like, this is it. I fucked up. I'm done. I'm going to freak out on stage. I'm going to walk off.
Yeah.
Happens to me like 40% of the time. I'll be in the middle of starting a set and I go, well, I'm going to have to leave and everyone's going to be furious and I'm going to go home. I'm going to move back in with my parents. I'm on stage. This is the first like 7 minutes and I'm like, I'll just move it back in with my parents. It's no big deal. But yeah, I try to persevere. There is something nice about that, especially now where like, I feel like intense pessimism and negativity is almost like in a way where it's like, it's almost cool to be like, fucking world's ending, dude. We're screwed. Everything's done. It's like, I don't like that stuff, honestly.
Yeah, I don't
You know what I mean?
I mean, dude, it's such a fight to stay positive, you
Yeah.
know, but it's so important.
Yeah, man.
You know, I mean,
well, it's like, how do you
it's
do
everything, dude. And once you start that negative talk to yourself, it's really bad, dude.
And yes, it's literally like the worst thing you can do, but there's nobody, in my opinion, there's like no emphasis put on the responsibility of not being a gigantic bummer.
Yeah.
Because if you ever had like a, you know, I remember having like regular jobs, 90% of the people I've worked with were like massive, just chronic bummers. Every single person I've worked a regular job with shows up and they're like, shit sucks.
Yeah.
No other way. This is what it is.
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Just show up and be like, another day here, this fucking bullshit ass place. I hate this place. And you're like, dude, I just got here. Can we just chill a little bit? So yeah, I mean, I wonder what people would need though, because I don't know. I feel like without religion, I don't know what else could possibly stoke somebody day in and day out like that. You know what I mean?
It's somehow a mindset. I mean, even like, you know, making documentaries, it seems like the greatest thing ever. Oh my God, you get to tell that story and this one and that one. But on a daily basis, the grind of it and the pressures, you know, it's so easy to get into that negative talk.
Have you ever been tempted?
Even the best things. I mean, they should teach it in schools, you know, about kind of the art of positivity and sort of, because that's all related to this mental health. And,
you need it.
You know what I'm saying?
You need that. The problem is it's being delivered by school teachers who can be a little negative and nasty. You know what I mean? It's tough.
Yeah.
If you're like a 27-year-old lady being paid $30,000 a year, it's tough to get the kids and be like, guys, life is awesome. Life is great. Yeah. You guys just got to believe in yourselves. Yeah. The teachers, that's one job I would like to have, but it's I don't know if I could do it, man. Especially like, it'd be one thing if you had like other sources of income, but if you're just living on that, like the teachers I've talked to, apparently they just get crushed by the administration because they're like, you have to do it this way. Yeah. None of it makes sense, but this is the way we're going to be funded. And every parent is like, dude, you suck. My kid's right. You suck, blah, blah, blah. So
with coaching too. It's similar about the parents getting involved.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The big game is right around the corner. Once Championship Sunday hits, there's only 3 more football games this season, which means you're running out of chances to get it right this football season, and there's no better place to get it right than Prize Picks.
Oh, yeah.
With player picks and team picks, you can pick how many yards the QB will throw or who will join Bad Bunny on stage. Oh.
Don't do that, Bill. Bill, don't do that.
No intense zoom ups, dude.
Bill, no intense zoom ups.
Dude, it's out of our contract.
I don't like the way I look. And what you're doing is, that's not right.
It's like an upskirt.
Guarantee what? I don't like it.
That's literally like doing an upskirt on a lake.
Guys, download Prize Picks app today and use code DRENCH to get $50 off in lineups. Or start it over. No, hold on.
What specific players do you think you're going to do really well?
I think Christian McCaffrey is going to continue to do well.
He dominated.
Download the Prize Picks app today and use code DRENCH to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DRENCH to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Oh, man, I love that.
I don't know. Like the pressure for coaching, I don't know if that's like, is that like scholarship pressure? Like I played sports. My parents were just like, we're happy you're out of the house. They would show up and be like, great.
Yeah,
scored 0 points.
Mine didn't show up that much, but yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
No. But I'm just saying. You know, I didn't. Sometimes it's a good thing. You know, if your parents aren't there every single.
I prefer them not to be there.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I didn't like if they came. It was like sucks. Yeah. Then like I would ride the bench for most of it. There's nothing worse than your parents showing up and you're on the bench the whole game and you're like, I'm sorry I brought you guys here.
I know. Yeah. I agree. That happened in college a couple of times, you know, when I played.
You played college ball?
Yeah, I played college hockey.
What?
At Yale, yeah.
Damn, dude, what the fuck? What position?
So I was a forward.
What?
Yeah.
What the hell? I didn't know you were a hockey player.
Yeah.
You don't strike. I mean, again, I'm not saying you're not like rough and tumble, but you don't strike me as a fucking college hockey player. How'd you keep all your teeth?
Yeah, we wore masks in college, you know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Fair enough.
When you play it professionally, then the masks come off. But
why?
I don't know. I don't know why they kept that rule Maybe they wanted people's faces to stay intact.
Yeah.
Until you play pro.
Though it's time to take the mask off and show show that beautiful hockey face.
Yeah, it's for advertising. They need to see the faces.
True for the game. Yeah.
Because if you're wearing a mask, you can't relate to the players.
Yeah, that's true. So what was the hockey grind like growing up? Because you must have played.
It was tough. Yeah,
that's a sport you play like early in the morning.
Yeah, it was like anything, just such a huge commitment. But to find ice time oftentimes, like when you're a little kid, you have to wake up at 5 a.m. and before school and stuff like that. I think a couple of times a week.
Damn,
but it was just like it was just a huge commitment your whole life. You want to be a great player. You want to play.
Did you cop the scholarship to Yale?
They don't. They give financial aid. So if they look at your income and decide what they to do with you. They're not allowed to just. I don't know about now, but back then, that's how they did it. But I got offered a couple scholarships from like Notre Dame and other places. But
so you're nasty.
I was.
You don't want to toot your own horn. I get it. So how many documentaries have you done?
I've directed 4 and then made 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your favorite one, you think?
Well, this one, they've all been very different, but one that's kind of near and dear, we're talking about hockey. Well, I've actually done several that are somewhat hockey related, but I really love In Search of Greatness, which is about the greatest athletes of all time and about the nature of greatness, told from the perspective of the greatest athletes. And it's really about kind of creativity and about how, most of the greatest athletes from Gretzky to Tom Brady to, Messi, they're not what we think they are. They're actually on a spectrum of like athletic ability and speed and they're actually like worse than the average athlete's strength and speed. Gretzky, let's take for instance,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, he was like an anomaly. He could barely bench press anything. He wasn't very necessarily fast. He didn't have the hardest shot. But he was just, because of these weaknesses, he had to figure out, another way to play the game. And he just, was the greatest ever by far, because he had to come up with these compensation tactics. So he thought faster. The same thing with Tom Brady. If you look at his combine score, whatever.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to argue is that I think we see sport in the wrong way. We're not looking at the right things, and for me, it's all about like creativity and sort of what we do with our weaknesses, and that we can actually reinvent our fields by thinking about sport or whatever it is in a completely different way. You look at artists, it's the same thing. In order to reinvent something, you have to, it's not what you think.
I know what you're saying. It's not all about like the 40 time. It's not all about blah, blah,
it's
blah.
totally the opposite. It's about the mind and about creativity.
That's pretty cool. Did you see the movie Inside Out 2? I don't know if you've watched that with your kids.
I don't think I...
Dude, Inside Out 2.
About emotions.
Yes, it's all about emotions and stuff, but there's a part in that where, it's all about the kid having emotions get out of control and they got to find some like equilibrium, and that's kind of like the whole movie basically. But there's a part in the end of Inside Out 2 where the girl, Josh, you've seen this movie? This girl's having a tough time. Her emotions are all out of whack. She's obviously hitting puberty too, so there's like new emotions. And there's a part where like it all, like the thing you're talking about finally clicks, and it shows that like she's all like gung-ho, like I got to be the hardest and fastest. And then like she just gained some sort of peace in herself. And there's a thing where she's like skating serenely through the ice, playing hockey. And I started to cry. Yeah. It was just such a beautiful, it stuck with me for 3 days. Just, I was like, God, man, that was it. Cause there's so much going on in her life. And then she just was like quiet inside her head, and she was able to just like part through, like having fun rather than like gnashing her teeth. That's
exactly what the point of this movie is. And in fact, my greatest memories of maybe in life are like playing hockey in an outdoor rink, just skating on my own and just like that, enjoying kind of the feeling of it. And, it's magical. And that's what the essence of life is in sport too. It's just this feeling of freedom and being able to experiment. And it's the same with, I'm sure, comedy too. It's all about just that period of experimentation and just unstructuredness about it,
Yeah.
that creates.
Well, yeah, once you get in your head, it sucks. It becomes a nightmare. If you get in your head,
and it becomes ritual. I got to do this. I got to do that.
No, I was talking to, God, I'm blanking on the guy's name. Kirk Fox. Who's a guy, Kirk Fox is a comedian. He's in LA. And, I was at the mothership and I was just like in one of my little funks where I'm like, I had like started doing newer material. I had to work out the hour and I was just like, possessed, being like, this has to be good. And I would just go on stage and I could feel crowds being like, ugh, because I'd come out like, hey guys. And they'd be like, that's not what this is about. You should be having fun and making us have fun. And I got off and I was about to go on. Maybe I was between shows and I was just like talking to him. Like, I don't know, I'm just like fucked up right now about all my stuff. And he just like looked at me and he's like, who cares? Like, just go have fun. Stop being, it was such a simple,
that's it.
Such a dumb thing. But I like at the moment it hit me and I was like, God damn it, you're right. And I went on after that and had a blast. And I was like, I was doing it a service to everybody else by being so self-centered and being like, no, I have to be the best. This needs to be great. And it's like literally a scourge. Like we
all fall into that crazy trap, but it kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier about positivity and just kind of having fun with things, and trying to find that somehow, because you get pulled back into that seriousness of the negativity, and you know what I'm saying? And you can't.
Oh, dude, it's literally the worst.
You can't perform either as well,
No, it affects all things. I'm up the age now. I'm turning 40 in like literally a week, and I like clockwork now. Like I was. My whole life, I've been so cocksure in terms of erections. And man, like I'm noticing now, I'm like, dude, if I even think about anything else while I'm having sex, you know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
Like if anything else enters my field of awareness, if I start going like, what's this like? It's gone. Not even gone, but it's just not, it's not it's not the dick. It's gone. And it's like, it's been fun for me now being like, all right, how do I, what do I got to let go of? And maybe it's just going to get worse and worse as I get older. But that's that's an interesting one. I've never had that problem. And like, I mean, that's like a very, localized example, but we'll see. That'll be my next quest to see if I can somehow overcome that. But it's,
plus like, if you're with the same person, it's a little harder.
What are you talking about? What are you even talking about, dude?
No, it's amazing. But
I'm just powered by the strength of our connection. I have no idea what you're talking about. No, yeah, obviously, it's like,
sometimes I find that like if you close your eyes and not that you still connected to your partner, but
turn on the lights and put on earplugs.
Lets you focus more. No,
it does
internally and sort of how you're feeling and less stimulus.
Yeah.
So it that helps a little bit too.
I think so. For me, I just eat pussy and I recharge. Yeah. But
that helps.
That's the move. I go, babe, time out. I need a water break. I need a water break, babe. But I agree with you, man. It's like, that's if I could somehow, if you think about distilling all of your life's efforts into like one thing, for me, it really is trying to figure out how to kind of spread the stoke as much as possible. And not even like, I feel like it gets a bad rap because there's that like vapid version of that where you're like in the mirror being like, you're a champion. Or it's like not that at all. No. It's like, no, you're a worm and you're pathetic on some level. But despite all that, you can still transcend that inside yourself and not be a total drag on your own life and, everybody else's.
Yeah, like when people say, it's. I hear this saying all the time. Well, you got to love yourself. You got to love it. I can't quite.
Did you ever try?
I do. I almost. Yeah, it's just a weird thing, So it's. I don't even think it's that.
I don't think
you do have to. You shouldn't like hate yourself and beat yourself up. That's the thing. But yeah, loving yourself. How do you do that? Oh, I love you so much. Gabe.
It's the weirdest thing. I've literally tried this.
I can't.
I was on LSD one time and like towards the end of it, I got this wave where I was like, I got to show up for myself. I got to love myself. And I like looked in the mirror and the first thought in my brain was like, shut up. And I was like, all right, my bad. Try to love you, but you pushed me away. But yeah, I personally think, I think that's one of those things that like, it sounds great. And then you try it practically and you go, okay, sure. Like this is impossible. Yeah. I personally think you should not beat yourself up like you were saying, and just rather than trying to play some weird mind game with yourself and like loving yourself, just go do something for somebody else.
Yeah,
that's the easiest. That's easy. I can pump someone else up. I can show someone I love them. But yeah, that whole thing, like, love yourself. I don't know where that comes from or like where that even originated, because there was no way. I think that must have come in like the 80s. Like that was, nobody said that in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe 70s and 60s. But
I do think that love itself is a key to it. You know, that feeling of like, if you can get that right here to, you know, love other people and, you know, to get that feeling for other people and for life, and you know, makes a big difference too. It's similar to positivity or whatever, but that feeling of love is what I think we all crave.
Yeah,
and not to be cheesy or whatever, but there's something to that too.
For sure. That was the.
That's when you say helping other people.
Yeah,
it's that
makes me feel
that
good.
transforms you. You know, if you could wake up and sort of try and channel that feeling of love rather than hate or, you know.
Yeah, or I mean,
it's what all religions, what all spiritual traditions, you know, are saying, you know, and all the great people from, you know, Gandhi to Martin Luther King, it's the key. It seems to have it, you know, a good
for me. It's like good. If I want to try to alter my own mood, it's such a labyrinth and mind game that it's like I'm just gonna end up probably having a panic attack. If I like close my eyes and start going like, all right, dude, let's make yourself feel as good as possible. I'm gonna end. I literally did this the other night. I was like putting my kids to sleep, and I lay on the floor while they're like getting ready to fall asleep, and I like started having a panic attack, and I was like, all right, I got to get out of my head, but. I can easily text my wife and be like, you look great today. And she's just like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then I'm like, all right, I feel good now.
Yeah.
But when you try to apply it yourself, it doesn't work.
You can, yeah.
So what I do is I do really nice things for a lot of people, and then I keep score if they do nice things for me. And then I eventually explode on them and say, you've done nothing for me. Told you look nice 10 times this week. But yeah, man, it's
keeping score is
can't keep
tough.
score. Can't keep score.
Yeah.
You just got to be
especially if you're married, you know, jeez.
Can't keep score.
Yeah.
You can tell them how hard you don't keep score. That's what I do. I go, look, the other day you left your stuff out. I didn't say anything, but I don't keep score like that. So
yeah, exactly. Right.
But that, I mean, marriage is one of those things that like, yeah, man, it's like, if you really want, because I feel like, again, I only know my own self, but I do feel like, let's say collectively, it is like a furnace, because it's you and another person. You have different ways on like, this should be done this way, this should be done that way. And in my experience, you either like let go of a lot of stuff or it just fucking explodes. Like there's no other way. You have to, and if you know,
and also you got to really anticipate that people are going to change, you know, that nobody stays the same. That's not the point of life, is to stay the same. It's to, people are growing, they're doing different things, and to anticipate that, and then really, I think, make that just commitment to kind of go with it and weather it, and not fight against it.
No, I'm telling you, I used to always when I was younger, hear people say like just that similar, like kind of folksy, happy wife, happy life stuff. And I'd always be like, I'll never give up. And then you hit the point, you go, I fucking give up, dude. I'm done. I'll just fucking clean up my plate or whatever you're so freaked out about. But yeah. But it's good. You know what I mean? It's like, it sounds not, but it's like, I don't know. Like, you know what, for me, this is like kind of different, but like COVID for me, like this whole thing about like being kind to other people. Cause I was like, I'm a nice guy. And then like, I would notice, like, I didn't notice how much I did this before COVID, but I would be in a grocery store and I would just see a person, and like my brain was constructed to like keep myself somehow above anyone around me in any way I could think of. So I would like I would see like a tall, handsome, muscular man. I'd be like, fucking loser. Guy's probably a big dork, thinks he's so fucking cool. Guy's literally probably a dumbass. And then I would just see like a lady and be like, look at that fucking lady. And I would just do this in my head. All the time.
I'm the same. Not now, but
no, I would do this all the time. I'd walk around and go, fucking look at this guy. And then COVID heightened it, because it was like, people would have the mask. I wasn't a fan of it. I was like, I think it's weird we're all afraid of the air. So I would go out. I wasn't being like super aggressive with it, but like if I was outside walking my dog, I'm not wearing a mask. Like I'm fine. I'm not worried. We're all far apart from each other. And I would get like dirty looks in my neighborhood because everyone was like completely K95'd up. And I had that, like, it like heightened that thing in my head. So now it was like enemies to me. And I was like, fucking look at this fuck. Now I was like really amped up. And I remember, I think I was in like a Whole Foods or something. And I realized somehow that every time I'd walk past a person and be like, look at this fucking piece of shit, it gave me a bad feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just, something like snapped in me to where every person I saw, I'd be like rooting for them on some level. I'd be like, I wish them the best. And I'd still have that, like, look at this fucking lady's weird ass fucking pants. But I would be like, but I wish her the best. And dude, I'm filled with like an incredible sense of peace. And ever since I've been, because the whole thing for me is like, even if you see somebody who's like kind of unbearable, like maybe doing something crazy or whatever, once you have kids, you're like, oh, that's somebody's kid.
Yeah.
So like if my kids are out in the world, God forbid someone walk past them or like, nice fucking hat, dumbass, I'd be so upset. So I started being like, well, I'm going to treat everybody like they're someone else's kid. And, and it's like, cause I would hope their parents would like want them to be treated nicely. And if their parents don't care if they're treated nicely or not, then they need even more kind of like love and careness or loving care, whatever it's called. And
having kids really helps with taking that kind of perspective too, especially like with your own parents. Like once you have a kid, thinking about your own parents, how they dealt with you, and having a little bit of respect for that, being a dad and having a dad,
Oh yeah.
And other people too, like you're saying, but I don't know what that is. I had that same thing about judging everybody, and it's a weird, where does that come from? You can't, even if you're self-aware, you're like, why did I keep doing that?
I have a theory, and it's, my theory is that, so I think it goes all the way back to like, it's just a thing in nature. Like if you're an organism,
you have to size everything up.
Exactly. But if you're an organism, say, and like there's a bigger organism than you have a fear of annihilation instinctively. You're going, this thing's bigger than me. Now I'm going to die. And I think humans have so many dimensions to judge where it's like money, looks, success, it's like infinite. Like
comparing.
So if you sense someone somehow bigger than you, then it's like you have to somehow cut them down in your head because there's like a weird innate fear that pops up. That's my theory.
Yeah.
So you just walk around the day all day. And then if there's someone that like you can just completely slam dunk on, it's probably just a feeling of victory where you're like, this fucking piece of shit. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's my theory about that. But it doesn't help you. And the thing is you think you get this buzz off it, but I really think it makes you feel worse.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of like when you're in grade school doing that, and it starts there almost.
Oh, for sure.
Kids making fun of other kids. And you still feel like when you're an adult doing that, you feel like you're a kid essentially still. But I mean...
Well, it's fun. I mean, if you're with your bros, it's fun. It's fun to mess around with your bros like that. But yeah, if you're out and like in public around someone who's essentially a stranger, and you're like, I know a lot of people do this, just start just absolutely ragging on people. I'm like, bro, you can't do that. It's not nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that helped me with social
with comedy though. Don't you always have to be observing and like, it's part of it is picking people apart or their idiosyncrasies, and
I'll do it.
Part of the.
If I'm struggling on stage, I'll sacrifice a crowd member just because I'm like, I'm not doing well, and I'll just absolutely sacrifice somebody.
Yeah.
And I know I'm like, this is wrong, but I need this laugh right now, and I'm going to make fun of your hat, and I'm going to make you feel terrible right now so that I can continue. And I know it's not right, but it's,
or you're doing it to yourself too, like about your own life and how.
Oh, I do that. But if I that's an easy trick to get a crowd on your side. Just absolutely just crush somebody in the crowd. And then they're like, all right, any of you guys want this? You better start fucking laughing at me. Yeah. I will fuck you. No, that's how growing up, my family dinners were like that though. Like I was one of 6 kids, and we'd all sit around the table, and it was just like, it was a war zone. Like everyone would start making fun of each other. Yeah. Like my dad would get involved, and like he would just like, it would be one victim. You'd be, if the light turned on you, everyone would start just saying whatever they could to just completely humiliate you. Yeah. And you had to like strike out against somebody else, and it would turn the attention on them. And it was like every night at dinner.
It's probably how your comedy started. No,
it could be. I don't know, but it's definitely that could be at least where that very critical negative voice came from, because you'd be eating and like, dude, you have 5 other people being like, look your fat legs, and you'd be like, fuck, you'd have to fire back somehow.
Yeah.
So it's not the best, but it is fun. I don't know. I do think it's fun though. Like fucking with people, if they're, I don't know, even when they react negatively to it, it is so much more fun. If you catch someone who takes themselves so seriously.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm kind of like a bloodhound for that. If I detect somebody's kind of like getting like pissed like that, I can't help it. I'll start like needling and messing around.
Yeah.
But
when we were kids, my friends and I would just kill each other. Like, I assume it's like in every circle when you're a kid, we just kill each other.
Yeah.
Over and over. It's part of the whole. And then, but people would laugh, I mean, it's funny too.
That's a difference. Yeah. If you got to be able to take it.
Yeah.
Because that's my mom's big critique of my dad loves giving it out, but if you get him, he's just like, you guys are assholes. He doesn't like it at all. Loves dishing it out, can't take it, which I think that's probably everybody, but nice, man. So the sports doc. So you're talking Gretzky. Who else is an example of that? There's Tom Brady, Gretzky.
So Rocky Marciano, who was one of the greatest, obviously, boxers ever of his time, was like, really short. He had no reach, but he developed this style, where he would just really, like Tyson had this too. He would get close. He basically was undefeated, and he would get close and basically like hit from up close. He would just keep, get really,
stay in your face. Yeah,
exactly. And he was undefeated, but his body was like, was not meant for heavyweight boxing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was short, not very heavy, and had a short reach, but developed a style like Lionel Messi. I mean, he was also shorter than most people. He had this, human growth issue where he like wouldn't grow when he was a kid and had to get testosterone. But he was, he also developed this flea-like style of like, deking people, and he was so good with the ball and smart. You know what I'm saying? So he had that deficiency, but he overcompensated in other ways. I mean, you go through even Jerry Rice. So he's one of the best receivers in history. He said he wasn't very fast, but he basically memorized timing and routes so perfectly that it gave him that, competitive advantage because he was in the right place at the right time, knew exactly when the ball was coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of other.
No, that's really nice too, because especially like with little kids, I've noticed it's like, maybe it's always been that way, but like I'm just noticing now because I have kids. But there's like a serious paranoia about any even signs of like, is this kid showing any developmental delays and blah blah blah. And people really freak out about that. And it's nice to think like, rather than trying to like force my weaknesses to become something they'll never become, how can I kind of, adapt and kind of, play to my own strengths and weaknesses?
Like even like Greg Maddux, I was just thinking, I mean, he's not even in my film, but like same thing. I mean, he sort of doesn't really look like a baseball player. Like he's a little bit schlubby. He's not that tall. He's not that strong, but his accuracy and his ability to understand batters and, was on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
You look at every sport, every of the greatest athletes, it's something like that, that's completely unexpected. I call it like Polsky's law, because it's like everything you see, everything you see is like the opposite.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. You coined that?
Paradox. I did coin it.
Damn.
I say to my family, I don't like, well, now here on the podcast, but
what?
Just that I don't like to be like a douchebag,
Why? Coining, no one else is going to do it for you.
Yeah.
You don't do Polsky's law. People are going to take it and they'll call it maybe McCusker's law.
Everything you see is the opposite. Yeah.
So what is the law again? You're saying everything is opposite as what you...
Everything is the opposite of what you see, what you think. So if somebody's like happy all the time, like smiling, they might be, the saddest people.
Gotcha.
You've seen things like that, or, these sort of paradoxes of opposites.
Yeah, like the surface, the thing you present is, the reality is probably compensating.
Yeah.
Hey guys, real quick, I have some shows this weekend coming up. I'll be doing live stand-up comedy. I'll be at the Belding Theater in Hartford, Connecticut, January 23rd. That'll be Friday. Saturday, I'll be at the Egg, the Hart Theater at the Egg in Albany, New York. Both those shows are almost sold out, so please come. And if you want to come, there's a few tickets left. Also, I'll be in Las Vegas, then Denver, Boise, Idaho, Salt Lake City, Cleveland. Just go to mattmccusker.com. There's a bunch of other places for tickets. Thank you.
I'll be in Helium, Atlanta tonight, Thursday through Saturday. Please come if you can. If I know the weather's going to be bad, but I'll still be there. So please come. SeanGardini.com. The link is below. Thank you very much.
I'll be at Dallas Hyenas the 23rd, which is Friday, or in Yellow Rose Cane on Saturday. Panties in Your Mouth podcast. Come on, guys.
Fair. Did you ever see the guy there's a guy on Instagram who does facial scanning where he'll be like, all right, this guy has this kind of face, and he has all these funny names for this, like tree face, block face, and it's not like a derogatory thing. He's like, these are the facial structure terms, but he says like no one's two eyes are the same, and he'll be like, so he'll cover up the left eye, and like the right eye is the eye of the father, and that's your secret hidden self, and like look how afraid he looks in this eye, and they cover this eye, and they'll be like, this is the eye of the mother, and this is like your, outward personality, but it looks like angry. It's really kind of fascinating.
Wow.
And when you see it, it's like, it's not complete bullshit, because like everyone does have like slightly different looks in each eye. I've been in the mirror nonstop the last couple of weeks just trying to like see which side,
that is.
which eye is what, and like what it says about me. It's kind of a terror that he like looks at people's faces and he breaks them down to a T. And some of the people are people he like knows nothing about. And then the producer goes, oh, this guy like killed his entire family. He goes, oh yeah, I told you he looked kind of fucked up. And the craziest thing they said, there's a term called, I forget what it's, but it's called whites on three sides of the eye. So like when people have a lot of white showing underneath their eyeball, he's like, that's like a giant red flag. Because he had done the guy, I forget his name, the guy who killed his parents, Nick Reiner. He did a facial analysis of that guy. And that dude's eyeballs are like you see a lot of the whites under his eye. So I've been on the lookout for that lately. But it's like a Japanese saying for whites under three sides of the eye. And it's like kind of if you see that, be careful.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
Sanpaku? Is that what it's called? Oh, yeah. Sanpaku. Whites on three sides of the eyes.
Yeah, I feel like all those serial killers, they all have that look.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a stereotype.
I don't know.
But they do have, I don't know if it's like, they took too much acid or whatever.
Could be.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, I heard about that whites on three side of the eye thing, and I kept saying to myself, like, I would hear people be like, oh, I just did like a bunch of ayahuasca, and a lot of them would get this wonky look in their eyes, and it's literally, it kind of looked like you could see a little bit underneath, and I could never like pin down like, what is that about that? But it was like I don't know.
Yeah, I've done.
Have you done ayahuasca?
Yeah, do I have that?
How do you? No, you don't have that. You're free from, what's it called again? Tanasaki?
Yeah.
Sanpaku. What's your thoughts on ayahuasca?
It's it's very mystical. It's opens kind of like a portal to different dimensions that, it's very hard to describe, but it's very mystical. It's beyond opening a portal to something that you can't experience without, taking ayahuasca. Imagine, God or somebody saying, let me just show you this new dimension or several of them of what's possible in the mind. And you're just like, oh my God, this is insane, to have an experience like this.
Sure.
And part of it is, and I can't confirm this, but is the healing of past traumas, and you're throwing up, you're purging, you feel better afterwards. It's not that I didn't do it because necessarily I'm looking to get healed or anything. For me, it was more of a curiosity and just sort of a deeper understanding of who are we, what are we doing here, what is all this,
Yeah.
And it's just, if you're somebody who is curious about reality and mysticism and sort of understanding deeper about reality and stuff like that, I think it's fascinating and enlightening in that way. You don't go, it's definitely still confusing because it's like you're opening into this portal and you're just like, what the hell is all this? This is incredible and crazy and strange, and you know what I'm saying? But it's not like, oh, here's the answer to life.
For sure.
Some people do say, oh, I was told this, and I met Jesus, or I don't know what happens to them. For me, I can't say that I have a lot more clarity about everything, but it gave me a richer feeling about life and what's beyond what we can see.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you've ever,
I've done
you get
like,
that with mushrooms
yeah,
or
so
acid.
that's what I was going to ask you. How does it compare to like a super high dose of mushrooms? I don't know if you've ever done.
It's a different almost dimension.
Really?
Know? It's like, mushrooms, you go into in one dimension, which is like, I don't know. It's also mystical. Yeah. You're in a portal. You're seeing things that are you could never imagine, But ayahuasca is like even a little bit of a different. Each plant has its own almost world or something.
Did you feel like out of body, or was it you're just looking around at stuff?
Kind of, but you're just in another world. You don't even feel a part of your body. You're just almost going into other dimensions with different patterns. You feel like almost and again, and everyone has different experience, but I felt like I was in some kind of strange matrix of patterns that were, and the patterns would sort of tell you stuff in a way, or
how many times did you do it?
You'd have these feelings,
Yeah. How many times did you do it?
I've done it like 7 times.
Really?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been my thing with ayahuasca. I've never done it because I talk to people and they're like, I've done it like 55 times, like literally like 55 times. And I'm like, why would you think somebody would do it that many times?
Well, why would somebody, I don't know. There are people do it for different reasons. Some people, they need to get healed, or they're trying to get to something. They're trying to, it's a medicine. Some of these shamans or people in the Amazon, they're doing it thousands of times, So for them, that's not a big deal. It's just part of daily life. They want to access the spiritual realms, They want to be close to that because there's a lot happening right now that, we're not perceiving, we're not seeing. Some people can be in both worlds at the same time. They can be in this reality, but also experiencing, this spiritual reality at the same time. The question you asked was, why do they need to do it that much? I've also noticed that people can do it 1,000 times and they're still kind of the same, which is, I don't know. Are you trying to change so much, or?
I see what you're saying. It's like looking at it from like a cure perspective, where it's like you hear.
I've seen people get better mostly. Mostly you get better.
That's cool.
Of a person.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Yeah, so if you're somebody that is just like constantly depressed or has negativity, just generally.
Well, Will Smith,
they're better.
After the slap, I think he had done ayahuasca like 30 times.
Really?
I swear to God, he did. He came out of the ayahuasca portal and just slapped Chris Rock right in the face. Wow, I could be. I don't want to be wrong about that, but I read his book and he was like that. He claimed like that was something that came kind of for like the right time for him. But yeah, that makes sense. So it's not like a cure all, but it definitely, because I agree with that. Like with like just doing like mushroom. I've only ever done like mushrooms and acid and stuff.
Have you done it like in a party setting, or more just like, look, I'm going to go deep. I'm going to go on my own. And
I don't like the party setting.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Although I took acid at a concert and it was awesome, but that was sick. But but I prefer to like lay down somewhere quiet and do it. That's how I did the mushrooms, and it was awesome. Yeah, it's great for me. It's like, it's awesome. It really does like shape for me. Like in the experience of it, you're like, oh, I figured it all. When you're in it, you're like, I figured it all out. But in reality, for me, it does like shave edges off slowly. So maybe I answered my own question. That's why I do it 55 times. It does feel like it like shaves off edges slowly. But it's like a 2%. Like weeks later, once like the afterglow, all that stuff wears off, you're like, oh, I'm still the same, but it has like shaved off a lot. Like the mushrooms,
it works your subconscious, really, and
it helped. The mushrooms helped for me realize how much I didn't realize how neurotic I was. Like I always knew I wasn't like like not neurotic, but when I took those mushrooms, it was like the 5 grams. I like laid in bed, that whole thing, and kind of blindfolded and all that. And the day of, I was like picking out clothes, like, all right, I'm gonna like wear something comfortable. And there was like, I was looking in my closet and there was like stuff I had gotten a long time ago from Goodwill. And I would look at shirts and like, that could be like a dead guy shirt. And I was like, I'm not wearing that today. Like I didn't realize. And then when I did it, it was like, it just really just kind of like, I always tell people, it feels like there was like like your own frame of awareness is like a football helmet you can't take off. And it was just like, take it off. And I got to like look at it and I was like, dude, I'm fucking nuts. And then I was like, oh fuck. And then, but it was good. And then like, or I'd like wake up in the middle of the night to pee, and I'll just get like rushed with the most insane thoughts of like, I got to get back to bed right now if I don't fall back to sleep. And it's like, it just kind of like deaded a lot of that stuff, that was like nice.
Yeah,
So.
and it's hard to. Sometimes you'll feel like you've got the key to life. It's right there. I figured it out, and then literally like 2 seconds later, you forget. What just happened. You forget.
Yeah,
everything. It's amazing. You have the most incredible experience, and a day later you just can't remember anything.
Yeah, that's
a weird thing, but it does go into your subconscious.
That's true, and I do think it'll be nice. I've said this before, but it'll be nice for people now who like have to confront death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you're getting older, it's like like that's gonna be a godsend, because before it was like you just had to like smoke cigarettes and like watch TV, and that's like a really gritty way to like die. You know what I mean? To try to like contextualize your death and like come to peace with it. So yeah, I think that'll be a good thing for a lot of people.
I think that like, did you get this sense when you did psychedelics that like somehow this is where you're going, like after you die, like into this kind of dimension, or
no? I
that
mean,
it kind of would prepare you for.
I didn't get that feeling, honestly. I honestly, I just more so get stuff of like, mine's more about like life, about like, this is just kind of what life is, and blah, blah, blah. But but no, I've heard people say that with DMT, like, oh, like now I know, like.
It did feel like that with ayahuasca, that like somehow that I'd been to that place before, this weird dimension, that I've been there many, many times,
Mm-hmm.
And so I do feel like that might be where you're headed,
Yeah, it's plausible. I mean, I agree, man. That's the one thing of like just having some form of religious or spiritual sentiment, like whatever, sentimental. I don't even know the words. Sentiments is the word. Just having something to be like, I'm not going to die and rot in the ground for nothing. You know what I mean? Like my life is a meaning. Like it's so bad for you. And I remember reading, I think it was Carl Jung was saying that like he had, I think that's how AA kind of started, where he met whatever the guy's name was, Bill W., and told the guy was like, dude, I've tried everything to get off alcohol. I don't know what to do. And he was like, yeah, dude, you're like 35. Like if you don't somehow come to grips with like some concept of God, you're toast. And he's like, every person I've ever worked with, that's kind of the X factor. If you're like 40 and you're like, I'm a staunch atheist, he's like, yeah, you're going to be depressed though. So
yeah,
good luck.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or some spirit, some creator, something. I mean, we're here for some reason. I mean,
yeah, and it's,
we're
well, it's funny. People like, that's just a childish superstition. It's like, I can face it by myself. It's like, fucking good luck, bro.
Yeah,
I can't,
exactly.
I can't handle that.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that's cool, man. That's how long, when did you start doing, like, when did that kind of come into the mix?
I think actually during this process of making this film,
that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. But I've always been super scared of it, because when I was like 12 years old, I smoked pot, and I totally freaked out and thought I was crazy, and just like for a good 6 months, like I had a panic attack and was still like just in shock. It totally tuned me up, and I was just like, what the hell? It was devastating. And so after that, for like 20 years, I was afraid to do anything. Like, wow, if pot, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so you went from like anything,
nothing for like, I mean, obviously, alcohol and stuff like that, but because, weed was so like insane for me of an experience and shocking. And
what was the bug out like at 12? Because I used to smoke weed when I was younger, and I was chill.
Wow.
And later,
I did do it one time and it was chill, and then I did it again and I just completely lost it. Like, it was just like a panic attack. I wasn't prepared for the psychedelic aspect of it. I mean, it was just like really, I did a lot of hits, and just everything was like this. And I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going crazy, literally, for whatever. And it was so traumatizing that for months I was just like, is this real? What is going on?
Yeah.
And no one knew like what to do. They thought I was like crazy.
And you couldn't tell your parents.
But I did tell them.
Did you really?
Because I was just like, I need to go to the hospital. Like, this is.
Dang, what'd they
Something's
say?
wrong with me. They had no idea what to do. I mean, gradually it's dissipated.
Yeah.
But I still never felt like my old self.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it really kind of tuned me up and made me feel like very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
Shit, sorry.
yeah, that's all right.
Yeah,
And
dang, that's crazy.
And so since that point, I was like very, terrified of losing my mind, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, I gained enough courage, you know, in the last few years to like, you know, I was just so curious that I wanted to try it, and I kind of started to.
That must have been
fearless,
terrifying then.
Like absolute, like, and I think everybody's a little bit terrified of these, you know, these plant medicines or mushrooms because, you know, everyone's afraid of losing their mind, you know.
Yeah. True.
But I think part of it is that's what we kind of need to do. You know, that this world is,
It's rough.
yeah.
I've been just for like, you know, as you're doing a podcast, you go, I should know like what's the top 10 news stories right now. And I've been like grokking being like, yo, hit me with the top 10 news stories.
Yeah.
So scary. Everything
Yeah,
you read
I know.
is like really bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, this is, you know, and it is funny. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, we should just get along, but it's like, there's gotta be something we can do. This is kind of nuts. When you read every story, it's just like, the technology's too good. We can't keep fighting. The technology's too strong. Get into like bioweapons, all this other shit. And it's like, dude, we gotta be nice. That's literally we're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, we're all gonna die in like a hot, nasty flash, and it's gonna be pretty sad.
And going back to the movie, I mean, you know, I guess what I learned was that a lot of these indigenous prophecies kind of were all saying the same thing. So for the past like thousands of years, they've been saying, you know, at this time, the world would be going through incredibly difficult place, like cataclysmic kind of things, and that it will be in such a bad place that, you know, we're going to really need indigenous wisdom. Go back to the original, they call it the original order, go back to the origins, you know, of indigenous wisdom and connection to the earth that we're going to need to basically save ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, part of that is connection to, you know, the earth, listening to the earth, listening to all what's going on, and then behaving in the right way. I don't know. It's
I mean, it's fair. Especially when we're gonna run out of water. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
3/4 of the water, it's all water.
Yeah.
Fucking use it up. But yeah, that's yeah. I mean, the thing that freaks me out is I think human beings need a cataclysm. If you're not going to like completely like rock your socks with psychedelics, it's like, well, reality is going to reach a fever pitch so hard that like it's either going to be like a plague. You know, COVID was like a minor, that was like a little bit, but like, I mean, it's nothing like, you know, like the Black Death in Europe. That was like a real kind of rock your socks moment. COVID was like scary, but, you know, it wasn't like, you know, a ton of kids dying. It was still like the elderly, which is like, you know, sucks, but it's not like as gripping, I would say, as like every, you know, 10th kid fucking dying, which is like, maybe we'll never have that again because of medicine. But yeah, it's I do worry that humans need another big old cataclysm to kind of like be like, all right. And that, I think now, like, God knows what that could look like. If it's not a natural disaster, if it's like a man-made cataclysm, that could be rough.
Yeah.
And it's for like, for what? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, the reality is definitely getting weirder and weirder, you know, right now.
Yeah.
In the world, it's just an understanding reality, understanding, you know, what to believe. You know, that's kind of, these are big themes in my movie too, is just what stories do we choose to believe? What do we believe in this kind of chaos, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
it's true. Yeah. I just read the news now and I just prayed none of this is true. I hope it's all fake. I hope it's staged to scare me. That's like best case scenario. Then you look at it like, now these are probably a bunch of psychos fighting, and, you know, so we shall see. But Gabe, thank you, brother.
Thank you, man.
And, dude, definitely go check out the movie. It's called The Man Who Saves the World? ? And it's, dude, I'm telling you, I liked it so much. As soon as I watched it, I was talking to Brandon. I was like, dude, this shit was awesome. Where'd you get this? So you did a theater run in it, right? You released it in theaters?
Yeah, so we're still in theaters. We're doing basically like a tour, like a comedy tour. We're basically, been all over the country, and
So people
at the end of the month, we're doing 4 cities. We're doing San Francisco on the 27th, and then Oakland on the 28th, and then Boulder on the 30th.
This is January?
Aspen, January.
Okay. Nice. And then from there, what are the plans? Just keep
Yeah. So
putting out,
so we're kind of building, this grassroots, brand, audience swelling, and then ultimately, it'll be more widely available. But
cool.
yeah, so we're out there getting the word out and doing these theatrical events.
Nice. What do you have? Do you have anything down the pipe, or
We're going to be in Austin, by the way, February 26th.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Nice, man. Do you have any other projects you want to work on? Or
I'm so focused on just taking care of this that it's kind of my main focus right now, is just making sure that this is released well, and then I've got a bunch of other things I'm sort of thinking about.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, dude, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, dude.
Of course. Watch new episodes of Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast on Spotify.
Do it.